Hey, Dan here, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to create Facebook ads for your accounting firm. So I will just explain exactly which settings you want to use, the approach you want to take, the structure of the campaign, essentially everything that you need to know if you want to get started with Facebook and Instagram and the whole Meta platform for your accounting firm. So before we dive in, I will quickly introduce myself. My name is Dan, and I'm the owner of Accounting Kings, where we work with accountants to help them get more higher revenue clients. And I create these videos simply because I want to show to you everything that I know so that you can implement it yourself and make more money from this. So also you can see over here that last month, last 30 days, we spent about $2,000 on ads and we scheduled 134 appointments, right? So you definitely know that this is all legit and that this actually works. Also, with Meta, you are never able to track every single appointment because some people they have certain VPNs and certain blockers for like the tracking code. So we actually scheduled more meetings like this. But this is just so that you know that this actually is something that you can trust. So let's dive right in. So the first thing you need to do is you go to business.facebook.com. You need to create your account over there. I will not do this in this video simply because it's really simple. Create your account over there. You log in, make sure you have an ad account and a page set up. And if you go to your ad account, you will see something similar like this. You just simply click on create over here. My account's actually in Dutch, so you will see some weird language translations. Typically, I always just like to click with leads. Reason for this is because at the end of the day, that's what we optimize for. There's something to say that you want to optimize for appointments, which is something that you can actually optimize for with this strategy. I always like to go with manual. Meta is making a lot of changes and improvements to the way they do the ads with AI, but it's not really there yet. So click on continue over here. I typically like to call my campaigns the industry that I'm targeting. So let's say with this campaign, we go with construction and then the server. So let's say we go with CFO services, right? Here we go. Purchase type is auction. That's fine. Campaign objective leads. You can use this one over here across ad sets. I actually typically do this. This essentially where you have your campaign level. Campaign level is just essentially what you are targeting, right? Then the ad sets can be like the campaign level is like the niche and the services, and then the ad set level we typically do the targeting, like we let AI do it, we have a lookalike audience or certain interests. So I like to turn this off. I actually, let me see, this is ad set. Yeah, so I do it per ad set, right? So you can see over here, right here, that I can now put a budget per ad set. So I do not turn this one on. I leave it off because it has some benefits and some downsides. If we turn this on, the Advantage Plus campaign budget, some of the ad sets will not get any ad spend. Will definitely in the beginning when I'm creating my campaign, I want to really make sure that I can test different targeting so I can optimize it later on. So I want to make sure that every single ad set will get ad spend so I can actually test my targeting. Okay. With the special ad categories, you can just fill in financial products and services. Let me do that right over here. And then we go to the next step. I don't typically use this stuff over here. I'm in the Netherlands, but yeah, you just target wherever you are. Now over here, the ad set, as I said earlier, is typically the targeting. So if you use a lookalike audience, I may make a video about this later on, but lookalike audience is essentially where you upload a big list of people that you are trying to target. And then we'll find people similar like that. So you can have a lookalike audience. You can also just use the AI targeting or just an interest like construction behavior, right? So yeah, you just want to, I will probably create a different video about the way that we do targeting. I just mainly want to create this video to actually guide you on how to set up the campaign and more of the structure. So you fill in the target that you have, right? Then over here, if we go in here, you want to set up the right tracking and what's going to optimize for. So we always optimize for conversions, but for some people, a conversion can be a lead form submission. For some people, it's an actual appointment. I typically like to optimize for appointments because also in my last video, I explained that the algorithm is going to give you what you are asking for. And the lead is, of course, not necessarily like a client. You want to go as down to the funnel as possible. Now, I will not go over how we set up the targeting. You can watch $1,000 videos. Essentially, what you want to do, you create a data set. With a data set, you create a custom conversion, and a custom conversion will be triggered when someone goes to the page after they schedule a meeting. So you send all the traffic to a landing page, right, with your calendar on it. If they submit the calendar, they go down in the funnel where they go to the thank you page, and you place a pixel, the Facebook pixel, you probably heard of it, on the thank you page, and it will be triggered every time someone goes there. And they can only go there if they schedule a meeting. And this way, Meta knows, okay, well, they scheduled an appointment. They track this as a conversion, and then it will optimize for people similar like this. I hope that was not too technical. But yeah, pixel, piece of code that you place on your landing page to track the traffic, the people that land on there. And then the custom conversion will track people that are on the thank you page, which people can only go to the thank you page if they schedule an appointment, right? Now, dynamic advertising material, I sometimes like to turn this on, sometimes not. So what this will do, it will allow you to create one campaign with different creatives. So let's say that the structure we typically have with our ads is we have one campaign. We have 3 different ad sets for the targeting. So most of the times a lookalike audience, a interest or behavior-based targeting, and then also we let the AI do its thing, because then we can see what, of course, gets the best results. And then within the ad sets, we have, you can either do dynamic advertising, where this will allow you to create one ad with all of your creatives and all of your body copies in there, and then it will just optimize everything themselves. I typically like to control it myself a little bit more, because although that the optimization from Meta is getting better and better, I know what I'm doing, and if you watch this video and you subscribe to the channel, you will do too. Shameless plug to subscribe, but you want to make sure that you can have a little bit of control yourself, just to test, but also to learn more and to optimize it faster. So yeah, if you want to let Meta do its thing, you turn it off. I typically like to manage it myself. Okay, so the budget, I typically like to go with at least, this is bare minimum, 1,000 per month. Ideally, you want to go with like 1,500, 2,000, and you allocate this over the different ad sets that you are going to create. So let's say that we have 3 different ad sets. We will put this to around $17. Yeah, $51. Yeah. You don't really have to look at this. In theory, you can even optimize for like when people can see the ads and everything. There is some argument that you can say that, well, business owners are likely to make business decisions during business hours. But the thing is, at the end of the day, they're not really on Facebook and Instagram during business hours. Some of them are during the lunch break. If you own a business, you are busy with your business 24/7, right? And it doesn't matter if you are Sunday at 3 a.m., you're laying in bed because you're not able to sleep, and you are picking up your phone and you open your Facebook and you see an ad that really speaks about your business, the key problems and your goals, you are still going to schedule a meeting as long as it's a great ad. So I typically don't go with that over there. Now over here, the audiences, if you go niche, which I do recommend with the ad, just target the whole of the US or Canada, because if you just pick one state, it can limit the amount of people you can show the ads to. I will probably also create a different video on how to pick the right niche, specifically for Meta. But essentially, you want to make sure that there are enough people in there. And if you just target one state, um, then there is a chance that there are not enough people in that state that are also in that specific niche. You can do some research on the age and also the gender. So, as an example, we have people that are in the trucking industry is one of them, where 82% of them are male. It's not that we want to not work with females, but the algorithm will optimize faster if we exclude them, because it's now going to probably do a 50-50 split. It's probably going to show 50% male, 50% female, and over time, of course, it will learn, but in the beginning, it will still test it out. Well, we already know that our audience is most likely male. So if it's above 80%, we exclude certain genders. So for example, with med spa owners, the split can be opposite. So this is, you just need to do a little bit of research with this. Also with age, I typically, you need to do this in detailed targeting, by the way, but I typically create my targeting outside of this process here, because you want to do a little bit of research first. Just open ChatGPT, open a couple of AI like websites, so that you can have multiple sources, do some research on Google, and then you can just have a good understanding of what kind of like your industry is. So for example, with law firms, you can probably increase this to like 64, right? But with software as a service companies, SaaS companies, we have found that typically those owners are not older than 55 and they are pretty young. But with dentists, for example, the age is typically like 30. So this will just do a little bit of research yourself, will speed up the learning process quite a bit. Over here, you just pick the page. Placements, over time, Meta will figure out where to and to not show the ads. However, I like to do the manual placements in here, and I like to turn off the threads and the audience. Over time, they will find the right network to actually show the ads, but this will just speed up the learning process in the beginning. This is not the biggest deal. You can leave it on if you want to, but it's not like a deal breaker in any way. Again, I put this to English, but it's not perfect. So this will also teach you some Dutch. So that's kind of like the settings that you want to use in the ad set level. You want to create your targeting. You just make sure you trigger everything when they land on the landing page, so you will optimize for that. You typically turn this one off, and I will touch base on this a little later why. And then just put the budgets. You want to make sure that you are doing the research on the audience and everything that you are targeting before you create this over here, and then you go from there. The icons, by the way, are the same. So I'm aware this is in Dutch, but you can, some things are in Dutch, you can still pick the same icons. So now you have done the targeting and everything, and you go to the ads. Typically, I do not go with the dynamic advertising materials. I always just create separate ads myself in terms of the creative. So let's say that you are targeting construction and you have a creative with construction site plus text, right? So maybe you have like a creative where you have text on top and then a construction site at the bottom. That can be the first one. Pick the page over here. You just have the website URL of the landing page. I do not let people call it. I just want to get those direct appointments. This is not very difficult to set up. You just pick your audience. For example, this is an ad that we are running right now. Sorry, not audience. You pick the creative. Over here, you do not want to be a person that is going to think of the copy in here, right? You want to actually do some critical thinking about copywriting, targeting, and everything before you set everything up. So just create a spreadsheet, create 5 different copies from different angles and 5 different creatives over 3 ad sets. That's 75 different combinations, right? Because it's going to, combine all of those copies with creatives with ad sets. So you want to have your primary text over here. Sometimes I don't use a headline, which will be over here, and I just put the offer in the description. Here we go. Okay, so you have your spreadsheets with the 5 copies and the offer. You put them in here, so you just have copy 1, copy 2, etc., etc. Again, I don't really like to do that the title, the head, and then over here description. I just use the offer. Okay, so now let's say that that's done. You have created your ad. Okay, so you have 1 creative, 5 copies, 1 offer, and that's at number 1. Then what you do, so I will just quickly create an ad over here. Let's see if I can just use this logo. Test. Okay, so what you then want to do is, because we have 5 different copies, you just want to copy 5 different copies and creatives. Just copy this one over here, just quickly duplicate it times 4, I always do. And then the only thing that you have to do is just make changes to the creative in here. Okay, so we leave this one as it is. This is the first one, and then the second variation, we just change this one over here. Let's say that you have a photo of a smiling contractor plus money. Like that will be your creative. And since you put all of the copies on the first one already, those will be automatically copied in here too, as you can see. And then the only thing that you have to change in here is the actual creative, and then you do the same thing here. Now, then when that's all done, so you have all of your different ads over here, filtered per creative that you use. You just copy the ad set times 2. And then let's say that you use a lookalike audience for this one. In this ad set, you change the targeting in here to the lookalike audience you created. If you are curious what the lookalike audience is, it's essentially, as I said earlier in the video, a big list, and you can target people that are similar like the people in the list. It's not necessary, by the way. You can also just use the AI targeting. And then over here we say AI targeting. Okay, so what you now have is you have 75 different combinations. Okay, so this is so much, like there's almost 100% chance, unless you really made a mistake with creating the campaign, but there will be at least one combination that will work. Okay, so in terms of copy, so you want to make sure that with the variations they are as different as possible. In terms of, it still needs to be the same offer, service, and industry, but you want to create one angle of the copy where it's about FOMO, like the fear of missing out on better job costing for construction, right? So they're missing out on $100,000 in missed profits. And then another one more aspirational, like talking about the vision of building a nationwide construction firm. And then one of more around the personal goals, like creating generational wealth using construction. And another one with talking about the bigger construction companies in the US and how they do their finances. So you pick all types of different angles in the copy. You pick one offer. If you don't pick one offer, there's like there are too many combinations you can make. Later down the road, if you found something that is working, you test offers, of course. Offer is a really important thing. But if you also put in the offers in here, you have the 75 combinations. Let's say that you're testing 3 offers. So all of that goes times 3. It's 225 different combinations, which is too much. Unless you have a very big budget and you know what you are doing. But I typically start with this over here. Now you have the campaign, 1 service, 1 industry. You have 3 different ways of targeting. So you have a targeting option that Meta gives you, can be of behavior or interest. You have potentially a lookalike audience if you have one. If you don't have a lookalike audience, just go with a different type of behavior or interest. And then you have the AI targeting where you just say, Meta, I trust you with my life savings. You do what you do best. And they do a pretty good job at this, by the way. So that's quite important. They launch everything. Minimum budget, I always say 1,000, 1,500. Give it a week. Check it in on a daily basis if it's actually spending the money. Make sure the tracking is set up correctly. And then what you want to do, I will create a different video on how to optimize the campaigns, but this is always the structure that we use. And then what you want to do is you just want to take a look, okay, well, certain creatives, they have, let's say, 500 to 1,000 impressions, but their click-through rates are low. I will kill this one. This body copy is not working like it's supposed to work. I will turn this one off. And then after like 1 to 2 weeks, you will see, okay, well, this angle works really well, and this combination of the creative works really well. So we have one angle with the FOMO one that works well, combined with the creative over here with the construction side and the text. Now let's make a variation of this. I'm going to create a different copy, still FOMO, and I'm going to create a different creative, still with a construction side, but with different people and a different text. And then you go from like a kind of working campaign, and you make iterations, and you go to like where the money is, essentially with a campaign that performs really well. So yeah, honestly, it's not that difficult. You just pick an industry, do some research, what you are good at, pick a case study, you go with the service you want to sell more of, you figure out the targeting, just take a look at the audiences, make sure that you know what age they are, what gender they are, make sure it's not too narrow. Something else that we do with targeting, by the way, is we always go with the business owner targeting combined with an interest. So of course we are, as the accounting firms, oftentimes we just want to get business owners, right? More fun to work with, monthly recurring revenue, and even if you want to sell the business in the future, if you have a lot of monthly paying clients, it's also nice for the value you can sell that. And yeah, if you have a interest for construction, there's a chance it's also going to show to construction workers, not the owners. So you do this combined with a business owner audience. You do not narrow it down. You just want to give Meta a suggestion. Hey, this is how we do things. So yeah, I really, really hope that this helped you out. Again, I promise you it's not as difficult. You just create it like with the structure over here. You do need to spend a little bit of time with coming up with the copy and the creatives and the targeting. I will create videos about this later on. So make sure you subscribe to not miss any videos, because there will be many, many more videos to come. If you learned something, if you got some value from it, make sure you like the videos. The algorithm will show you more videos like this. If you have any specific questions, just leave them in the comments. I will just either record a Loom video for you, or I will make another video about this. Again, thank you so much for watching, and let's make some money with Meta ads.